Station 51, engine 40, engine 65, truck 18. Structure fire at 11812 Clear Spring Road.
10-4 KMG 365.
Sing it out, boy, you've got to see what tomorrow brings. Sing it out.
Hey guys, for the law enforcement people out there, I hope you don't mind a little firefighter stuff. We'll play some cop stuff tomorrow. I just always love that opening theme. That does kind of date me. That show was from the 70s. I purposely didn't promote this show ahead of time or give it a provocative title tonight. It was never my intention to be a breaking news kind of guy. And when I have breaking news, and I really do right now, my instinct is to be cautious, double check sources, protect sources. What I have at the moment is explosive, but I don't want to tease you. I hate it when someone does that to me. Maybe part of me hopes Turtle Boy has the same material and we'll break it tonight. Then tomorrow I can do what I do best, analysis. If he doesn't have it and he's listening, he can at least take heart in this. Maybe soon he really will be elected mayor of Canton. I'm going to spend tomorrow doing two things: verifying this information as much as I can and finding out for sure what I can report without jeopardizing sources. That second thing is going to be the real trick. I'm not comfortable coming on the air and making claims, and then when people say, "How do you know?" saying, "I can't tell you." But it's hard enough sometimes for the good guys out there, and they are out there, to stand up and do the right thing. We don't want to jeopardize their lives or their careers. I'm not even comfortable telling you as much as I've just said because it feels exploitive of you, my audience, like I'm just trying to get you to watch tomorrow. The reason I'm saying this tonight is because my audience is small, intimate, and it feels like we're all just kind of comfortable with each other at this point. You guys will advise me here in chat, but even more with private messages, please, after the show. I read them all and I engage, and they're very important to my thought process. So I really want your input. Reach out. I have to figure out the safest and fairest way to report this. Give me one night, please. I also want to be fair to both sides. The information I have powerfully suggests not only that Reed is innocent, but that the conspiracy against her is, well, almost unbelievable. But it's now for the first time becoming coherent. This new information makes it make sense. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it made sense to a lot of you before, but to me, no, it didn't. It's starting to now. Aiden Kearney, Turtle, has the narrative right, I think, though maybe some of the plot he got wrong. If this new information is true, at the end of the day, he's been right and might be exposing a corruption scandal worthy of an HBO series. I just have to be really careful about jeopardizing sources here. To be clear, no credit for any of these discoveries goes to me. I'm not an investigator. I've never filed a FOIA. I've never contacted a potential source, checked police records. Any information that I have came to me without me going looking for it. I'm not Woodward and Bernstein. I'm a guy with a mic. And as you've heard me say, I'm just an old bartender. Now, some people have been sending me photos and arguments from the other side that Reed is guilty. Good. Keep sending. In fact, now is the time. Send them tonight. Send them tomorrow. Send me what you got. Last night, I had a great back and forth with someone from the Reed is guilty side. He pointed out that the ring video above John's garage didn't show her SUV return at 12:41. In fact, it showed nothing at all between 11 and 5 a.m. when Karen pulled out and hit John's car with her taillight. Was that video deleted? It would seem so, but by who? He further points out that Karen still has not reached a deal with the prosecution to examine her phone. She is claiming attorney-client privilege. She contacted a lawyer early. Clever, right? I told you there's an evil genius in this plot somewhere. So the theory, I presume, is that she arrived home hysterical, not knowing that she hit John, sees the broken taillight on her car. So she calls an evil genius, or at least someone that will help her. She wants to hide this call from the prosecutor. The genius tells her to erase all the video on the Ring system, then carefully back her SUV into John's vehicle. Hard enough to crack the tail, back it into it hard enough to crack the taillight, which the Ring video will record. Clever, right? But I pointed out a problem. Reed pulled in front ways, so it wouldn't show her taillight when she got home. So she had no incentive I could think of to delete the footage. Another thing to consider is that someone else might have deleted it early that morning. Just getting a message. So someone else might have deleted it. Someone else who had John's phone, who found it at the scene on Fairview. So I asked this person who was talking very respectfully with me to tell me how he believed John could get that wound on the back of his head without any bruises anywhere else. He had no answer. I asked him if that bothered him. He admitted it did. So get your arguments and evidence out to me. Load them up. I'm not on anyone's side. I will always be fair. For those of you with information, either way, let's do the right thing. Let's be guided by a sense of right and wrong. For those of you that have taken an oath, for God's sake, remember it. For those of you that grew up believing you wanted to fight for the good guys, find a way to believe again. The truth will come out here, whatever it is. If you have something, if you have a piece of the puzzle, get it out there. If you need to find a way to do this without harming yourself or your career, I get it. We all do. Find it, though. To Prosecutor Lally, if you know of wrongdoing, be a hero here. Be a hero. We get it. The law is an adversarial system, and you're on one side. That gives things a certain clarity, usually, but not if there's corruption, not corruption around a murder. You're taught to trust the system. I know that's what the law is all about. We understand. But you can save the system by being the hero who stands up in front of a camera and simply tells the truth. Trust me, tens of thousands of police officers will cheer you. Okay, guys, let's get on with our co-host and special reporter, Dave McGrath, and our special guest, Erin Werschauer. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, so let me get these guys into the room. Erin should be on hopefully momentarily. Hey, Dave.
Evening, buddy. How's things? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody.
I can actually hear you. That's always an encouraging start. So
brand new laptop.
Oh.
Who this? And
nice.
It feels so good to do the show and be able to look at my phone at the same time. Good Lord.
So where are you thinking? Do you have any? Dave is kind of, we want him to become, because he did such a good job in Canton. He's going to become our roving reporter on scene, you know. So where are you thinking about going next? What investigation, a location?
I mean, it might have to be Canton again, the way things are going.
When's the next hearing or event going on there?
I think it's September 15th. Thanks to Stefano. So I'll be there. Just to piggyback on your opening monologue, which was so eloquently stated. I mean, it's just wild. I think if things end up bearing out true, how it's probably, this thing is just so beyond anybody's wildest dream of what it was in the beginning. You know, it's just, it's going to be one hell of a TV movie one of these days. So, yeah, great opening monologue, buddy. Just great. It's definitely the way to play it right now. And hopefully, like you said, so, you know, maybe, listen, neither one of us would know about this story if it weren't for Turtle Boy. He broke this thing open. He's the hero of at least on this side. And maybe he'll have it tonight, and that'll be great. And we can analyze it. And but it's
Dave, are you looking in chat? Who is this Elizabeth? That's not Elizabeth Proctor, is it? Or
Elizabeth Proctor has entered the chat.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is or not.
I don't know.
Listen, Elizabeth, you can come on with us.
Elizabeth, we'd love to talk to you. If we've got this wrong, then tell us. You know, we're open to. You know, I can't tell you how many people for the prosecution side have come into this chat, have emailed me, and I've said, please tell me. I mean, I want to know. We're here, you know, and it never happened. So, I mean, You know,
I will tell you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish up. Yeah.
you're more than welcome, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, I'm not on either side here. And I actually, if you are Elizabeth Proctor and your husband is being smeared, I don't blame you for being mad. I don't. And I want to give you a full chance to say whatever it is you want to say here to bring evidence to the idea that Karen Reed is guilty. I've been kind of down the middle in this. I just try to follow the evidence where it goes. So if you want to jump on, reach out to us. You can come on now. You can come on tomorrow. I don't care. And we'll be fair with you. There won't be any yelling at you or trying. You'll get a full chance to just say whatever it is that you want to say. If we have any questioning, and I'm sure we will, it'll just be gentle. We're not here to destroy you or anybody. And if Michael Proctor is innocent, I mean, Dave's a cop. I'm sure he feels awful if Michael Proctor is innocent. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
again, I I work at the sheriff's department at least for the next 10 days. And I just think if I'm Elizabeth Proctor, and if that's her in the chat, who knows?
Right.
If my husband's name was getting dragged through the mud, like I'd be screaming, I'd be going on podcasts with one listener. You know,
we would definitely be doing what she's doing. Yep. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry.
And and again, I'm on Team Karen. All of this, everything points toward complete cover up, and some more names are going to come out, and people that, 9 days in a wake up, Tom. Oh my God, cannot wait. Again, and I lost my train of thought there.
No, yeah, we were talking about how
been hitting the head a lot.
We totally understand, and I know you would especially understand because you're in law enforcement, how if this guy is getting smeared and there's no evidence against him, we just have a really badly run investigation that looks kind of suspicious, but that there could be other explanations for it. And so we're open to all that. And
my question to him, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
my
go ahead.
Question to him would be, as somebody who has written a lot of reports in my day, how in the world could your captain, your major, your lieutenant look at those reports with the misspelled names and words and say, this is this is okay, like, sign off on this. Like, this document is going to work in a court of law, and it's going to have to hold up to a defense attorney who's making $2,000 an hour. How? That would be my first question to Elizabeth. And again, you have kids, you have a family. We're not here to smear you. We have a young lady here whose life is hanging in the balance, right? She's going to do 10, 15, 20 years in prison, whatever it'll be for murder too, in state prison. And, and even when she gets out, I mean, even if she gets out on parole in 7.5 years, 8-10 years, she's going to be a fry cook, for the rest of her life. And she hasn't even gotten the chance to properly grieve her boyfriend, who was a police officer himself. I mean, you understand why there might be some public outrage over that,
And Elizabeth, I've been kind of down, I don't want to say down the middle, but I've tried very hard, and people have got mad at me on this channel. I've tried to play it down both sides. In fact, Turtle Boy had me on his show last week primarily for that reason. He kind of said I was guilty of both sidesism, which is a great way of putting it. But no, but it's because I have sincere questions in this case. When I look at it from your point of view, it does seem hard to understand the timeline. It seems convenient where it looks like Karen left the accident scene right around the time that John's phone indicated that he stopped moving. So that's kind of suspicious. And then you're asking a lot here to believe in a conspiracy involving this many people. But we can't understand on our side a lot of things. But Dave just pointed out one there. But for me, I cannot make any sense of that head wound and how nothing and the lack of wounds anywhere else in the body except for the abrasions on the arm. So, well, yeah, but Tom, if she actually is Elizabeth, right. we want to know. Maybe she is just a troll. I don't know. But right. I mean, But I mean, if you've been following the case, she does comment a lot on a lot, and it's her. And that's understandable. I would do the same thing. I'd say, hey, don't talk about my husband like that. This is a guy that I love, that I have kids with, and I totally understand it. So it wouldn't be beyond her to come into this right now. And, I totally believe it's her, frankly, because I've seen her show up everywhere, and I fully expect that. I'd be worried if they were running from it. Wouldn't you? She absolutely should be doing it. I just put my email there for you, Elizabeth. If you are still watching, email me. We can talk on the phone. Anything you want to do. I'm going to be fair to you. Now, I want to bring in a special guest here. This is a new member of our team. I'm probably going to butcher her last name, but it's Erin Warschauer. And she has joined us on the research side of things. She's a corporate researcher, but she also is a big advocate for the Karen Reed case. She was down there in Canton. So we're very glad to have her here. And anybody else who wants to join our team as a researcher or any other role you want. Now, let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is 2 for 2. This is incredible.
Hey.
So Tuesday, what made you go there and what did you see there?
Well, it was one of those things, like I've been following this case since Turtle Boy, kind of blew everything wide open. And I kept seeing his posts and everybody else's posts, like, get here Tuesday. And I was actually working at home and I just kept looking at the clock going, man, I want to go. So my boss called me, we were talking about something else. And then I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. So I showed up. I was a little bit late. I wasn't there, at 12:15, like the super fans were, but I made it. And it was just everything I needed to cement my belief in, not only what Turtle Boy was saying, but what the truth is here, that something is amiss, something is going on. And I wanted my voice to be part of everybody's voice screaming for Karen. So it was awesome.
Did you run into Dave there at all?
I saw Dave. We didn't talk. We have since, but I saw him there. That's as far as that went. When I showed up, I drove down the street in front of the courthouse first, and it was just, laying on the horn, like everybody who came before me, and everyone was just screaming. So I was like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be today. So walked over and was going to just stand on the peripheral. And once I started hearing Turtle Boy talk, I was like, God, he's like a magnet. You got to get close to him. You got to listen to him. You got to give credence to what he's saying. So
he's got charisma, huh?
He does. Well,
Dave has charisma too. We'll have him there at the next trial.
We've actually spoken a couple of times today about some research he has me looking into for him. So yeah, I'll tell you, yeah, he does too.
Dave, you got anything to share or ask Erin?
Well, we're so glad Erin's here. If you know anything about her background, she's a bulldog for corporate America, doing a lot of research. And, what I told her is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's kind of hard sometimes for me to stay on track with things. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not, but, I was like, let me test Erin. I'm going to give her a couple assignments. Of course, she threw the touchdown pass to herself and spiked the fucking ball. She was great. I think me and her are going to be good, just fine to get working together. And there's so much, it's like, we do so many, we talk about so many different stories. Me and Kevin are always like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but we got to find some people to help us, man. We're really not that bright of guys, we're really, and so Erin, I hope you're one of many. And I like the hair. I love the hair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't actually get a lot of static for it, but I'm ready when I do. So yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I did want to say, like, it's not, I work in a law firm setting, actually. So I've been doing this work since 2008 when I was in law school. I started doing the research and everything. My official deal is that I work in conflicts. So essentially what that involves is vetting new clients, vetting, new litigation, new adverse parties. So what I do is just dig deep on people they want to represent. I find out all the dirty shit that they don't want to tell their lawyers. So it's you know, it's become a passion, not just work. So I want to use those powers for something more important than making a bunch of lawyers more money. So sorry, anyone who works with me, if you're watching, but
she knew exactly how to flatter me too. She's reading my book. She was reading my book, and she knew what page she was on, where she was at in it. So come on. I mean, when you tell a writer, hey, I'm reading your work right now, everything else after that is, so.
Yep. Didn't get much further today. I got 2 kids I had to entertain for the afternoon, but yeah, it's shaping up really good so far. So congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
It's excellent.
Thank you.
So did your legal training, you've got at least some legal training in law school. Yeah. What's your legal impression of this case and some of the matters in it? Oh,
it's complete bullshit. Like that's my opinion as a graduate of law school, but not a barred attorney. So I'm a JD. I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter when I took the bar, and I failed by like 5 points. So at that point I was just like, no, I'd seen too many things get screwed up, from charges to bogus incarcerations. And at that point I was like, I don't want to be on that side of things. So yeah, it's it's botched from the beginning. If they thought for a second that anybody else had something to do with this, like a second party at all, regardless of who it was, and it seems like they did, otherwise they wouldn't have been taking those blood samples in solo cups on the yard. I mean, what's the explanation for that? It's obvious they thought it was someone else's blood, otherwise they wouldn't have picked it up. And if that's the case, then why not lock down the crime scene? Why not talk to the people in the house? The whole thing has been just rife with error since the beginning. So
yeah, that's like what Sean McDonough was saying. We talked about on the show when he was on, and he'll be on again soon. So the idea that they seem to have 2 early theories in the case. One was that it was a domestic dispute, which is really odd. Like this 98-pound girl attacks a 6'2" Boston cop. I mean, it never doesn't make sense. And I don't know how she could possibly make him look beat up like that, And then the other thing was, at some point it was turning towards the idea of a hit and run. But in either case, you have to secure that vehicle.
Absolutely.
There's going to be evidence in it, around it, on it. I mean,
at the very least, we have a vehicle. They didn't secure the vehicle, and they didn't secure Karen. They let her go. So
and then they set her later.
Yeah. You have the suspect, or you have the best witness, and you have a mobile crime scene. And again, if Elizabeth Proctor was here, those are the kind of questions that any normal person would ask. So
absolutely.
And it's just 101, first day of the academy type stuff. So
yeah.
Very good. So we were talking earlier. I know we're both long-time turtle riders. Is that how you became interested in the case?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that how you found us?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I went back and I did some deep diving into some older shows, but mostly it was via the whole Karen Reed. So we can thank her for bringing us together later when she's free, as she should be. But I mean, looking at this from a perspective of someone who's sat in that technical criminal procedure class, it's like, guys, you didn't even take the rudimentary first steps to secure any kind of charges against this woman. I mean, you got nothing. And it's all fruit of the poisonous tree after that.
Let me ask you a tough question, Aaron.
Okay.
And this, if you happen to hear my monologue from last night, this might ring a little bit. You might recall it. So you went down there, you had your voice heard, you made a difference.
Yep.
What would happen if next week a video came out showing Karen backing into John? How would that make you, would that change your feelings on anything about going down there Tuesday or anything?
No. Because given what I know, I mean, absent of literal video evidence, I'm aligned with Turtle on this one. Absent any real, true video evidence of this occurring, I don't believe it for a second. And if it does come out that she actually did do this, well, you know, live and learn, I guess. But from what I've seen come out, from everything I've read, from everything I've heard from people, I don't think that that's the case. I think that that video, if it existed, would have come out on day one.
Right. But the point is that even if somehow it turned out that she is guilty, you kind of still feel like you participated in something big where everybody came together and peacefully made their voice heard and made the court system and maybe the elites that run or that are connected in the state understand that we're watching and you're not going to just run things how you want to run them. If you want to run a shoddy investigation, we're going to notice.
Yeah, be ready to answer for it because we're watching.
Yeah,
I just feel like that's
important.
That's such a tough bridge to cross, considering that like if that video existed, we'd probably already have a plea by now, right? And we wouldn't be talking about this. I mean, Karen Reed would be, you know, doing whatever, you know, and that's a thing. Like with murder too, it probably would have been maybe, you know, it's and it is. Yeah, I agree. It's very disrespectful to a Boston police officer who's been on the force for 14 years. Yeah, it's just everything is just so unconscionable in this.
Yeah, I mean, it just stinks from the beginning, though. I mean, there's things even at the scene, minute one, when they were calling 911, that are really sticking in my brain about this. I mean, I'm sure there's other people. I've had discussions on the Justice for John and Karen Facebook group. Why is Karen hysterical, but Jen, who's supposed to be John's longtime friend, is calm and composed, calling 911, not having any kind of shock reaction? I mean, like Carrie, you know, who knows? But Jen was supposed to be his friend. She was the one who invited him to this get together. They'd known each other for years. She was the one pushing him all evening to come to this, and she has no reaction. I mean, from minute one, I was like, I don't like it.
The only thing is, for me, as I've seen from following these cases, I mistrust witness statements and descriptions of whether it's someone else describing Karen's reaction or someone else describing Jen McCabe's reaction. I really, not that the witness statements are invaluable, but to me, it's more about the statements that are backed by evidence, physical evidence. So it's hard to tell if someone's going to react in that situation, you know?
Absolutely. And everyone reacts differently. So, I mean, who are we to say? But still, it caught me hard that she was labeled as hysterical and then later sectioned because she was grief-stricken and shocked, but nobody else had any notable reaction to finding his dead body. I mean, that stinks to me.
And real quick, Aaron and Kev, Dave Jenkins just said something that I've been harping on since day one. Dave Jenkins, former federal law enforcement. David, I hope you're doing good, buddy. The initial overviews, the initial reviews of the initial reports are really the biggest problem for me, is that you can't even get a name right. I mean, when you do these reports, they're all coming off inmate registers. Well, in my job anyway, but you know, when you're doing them out in the field, they're all coming off licenses, and everything is double and triple checked. Again, these are reports. These are legal documents that are going to go to a court of law that are going to take the freedoms away from somebody potentially. And
that's
for these goofy names to be in there, for the goofy misspelling of the names, I mean, it just seems like, you know, there was very little oversight on this thing. And that's the oddest thing of it all. And I know Dave and Sean McDonough and I have talked about it before. It's really hard if you really know to even get past that, you know? So interesting. It's an interesting case. And I wish people knew the rot. I hope they're starting to understand the rot in the system and how rotten everything is. And it's not just, nationally it's like that in DC and other swampy areas, but here it's just, and it's no different, you know, anywhere else. But I hope people really know, like, it's so rotten, from the people who wear robes and make you stand up when they come in a room and let people go with 84 criminal offenses so they can go shoot a cop, like that other story, like Ron Tarantino, the other story that Turtle Boy broke open. It just never ends. From the minute I read the first story on this from Turtle Boy, but this doesn't really look right, I fucking said, of course. It shouldn't even surprise you anymore. The gears only work in one way, and that's towards corruption.
That's one of the reasons that bothered me. I've said this before. To there's certain things that make you angry, and it was Lally's attempt to say that the health app data on John's phone was not reliable because it's shown to be moving after he was pronounced dead. It's an insult to our intelligence. I mean, I don't, make an argument why that data is unreliable, fine, but not that. That's just stupid. Obviously the phone was picked up by the police. I mean, that's just, you're going to try that on a juror? I mean, that's just crazy.
On the phone, and a lot of people have argued this with me, and it's inarguable as the sky is blue. When you make a search at 2:27 in the AM, how long to die in cold, or the misspelling, whatever it was.
Haas.
Haas long to die. That's indisputable when you have a guy like Richard Green, who is the authority on this stuff, right? And there's no secondary data company is going to look in 4-hour blocks, as I've heard the prosecution say. It doesn't work like that. That's like saying you have a surveillance camera that only works in 4-hour blocks, and you can only pull data from. I mean, it just doesn't. That's incompatible with how it's done and anywhere else. I mean, if that's true somehow, which I find that inconscionable, but if it's true, they would handle data. They would be the only company I've ever seen. They would be the biggest outlier, because that's not how it's done. When you make that search, it's stamped. It's like a DNA. I mean, it's like an imprint, and it doesn't go away. Nothing's ever gone. So, I mean, that right there alone, I don't know what we're talking about here. I really don't. I didn't, like I told you last week, Kev, I didn't think this ever went to trial. Then I went down to cover it at the courthouse, and I talked to people. And then I started thinking, they really are going to fucking take this thing to trial. And I figured they'll just sandbag themselves. Karen Reed will get off. We'll all have a big, moment there. Nobody will ever really go to jail for John O'Keefe's, because you have to understand another thing too, guys. Coming from someone who's worked in the prison system the last couple of years, and I work a lot in solitary confinement. Brian Albert is a cop, 30 years. You have to understand one thing. He is not going to have another meal with another human being for the rest of his life if he ends up going down federally, because the only people that are going to arrest him are the feds now, right? I mean, I don't know if they would get him on state charges, or if this is going to be a big, let's just say the feds grab him, because he still could be arrested on state charges for sure. But let's say the feds grab him, and it's a corruption thing, and it's a whole thing, and some of the stuff that we think is going to happen will happen, and he gets fed time. He's going to live in the hole for the rest of his life.
Oh yeah.
Because all police officers do. They immediately get taken. They don't even go in with the child molesters and snitches. They go right to the hole. And you have to understand, they're not going to keep him. I mean, he's going to literally be a keep away from everybody, because they're going to be worried for his health, and worried they're going to get his ass kicked, murdered. Some guy comes in off the street, 30 years, he's doing life, and he's going to try and make a name for himself by doing something to him. So
this is one of the areas where I have to really weigh how I want to describe it tomorrow, but where I have some new information is on federal investigation stuff. We'll talk about it after the show.
Right.
And
we know that they're involved.
Yeah.
It's a little different though than what's being reported. So
right.
It's
And
kind of a lot different. So I mean,
right.
But
right.
I know I got to go over with you later, but and
But
like I said, I want to run it by these sources too, and sources of sources and that kind of thing. I'm not going to go with it tonight until I talk to them again tomorrow and find out what they're comfortable with. If Turtle Boy has this information, watch his show at 9. He may have the same information. A lot of times he does. And if he goes with it, great. Then it's a weight off my shoulders. I'm just going to be obviously kind of careful. That's just my nature. Just like Dave gets mad at me with the phone data information. Dave studied this in school, which I didn't know that until last week. But, I take the position that I don't know who Rich Green is. I don't know that he's the foremost authority in the world. I haven't heard that. And so basically I have an expert. I do know in trials, that's the way it works. It's like I've been in 2 civil lawsuits. I've been on a jury, and both times the the plaintiff would bring in doctors whose job they become a side gig of testifying in trials. And so the lawyers know to hide these guys when they're trying to sue somebody. So they know who to get. That's more, it's not like the guy's going to lie, but he's going to support their case, and they know who to get. And that's well, because they bring this evidence, because then the defendant will bring this evidence out during cross. They'll say, how many trials have you tested it? And the doctor will be like, 72. You're like, oh, you've testified in 72 lawsuits, and you know how much you get paid. And he'll tell them they can't deny this stuff, and the jury has to weigh that. So that's where I am here. You know, I don't know. I haven't seen that data. I wouldn't know how to look at it anyways. Dave does know how to look at that, but he hasn't seen it either. So I just kind of, until we see it, but there's no question. Let me just finish up there. There's no question that if she made that search at 2:27 a.m., as we all kind of assumed at the beginning, there's no question that Karen Reed is innocent. There's no question. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
Real quick, Aaron, can I finish the thought on Brian Albert? What lie wouldn't you tell? He knows what he's facing. He's going to be CO is going to come and hand him 3 meals a day. He's going to have to get cuffed on his arms and his legs to go to the shower in and out for the rest of his life. What lie wouldn't you tell? What person wouldn't you throw under the bus if you knew you were facing that? He's not going to go. This will be a fight to the end. He knows. McCabe, the other girl, she's going to do state charges. She'll end up in Framingham. I believe that's where the women's prison is. And you know, she'll probably be in solitary as well. But this guy has decades of law enforcement experience. He's going to be a huge target. They're going to do everything they can to take care of him, and they're going to stick his ass in the hole for the rest of his life. And he knows it. All these cops know. I think about it myself. I work in the prison system. Sometimes I'll go out and have a beer, and I'll be like, I better call that fucking Uber, because if I end up getting popped for a DUI, and the first time they sit me down in front of the lady to do my intake, and I say, hey, I'm a CO, I work at Bristol County Sheriff or whatever, they're going to say right to the fucking hole. And that is nowhere you want to be. Even the most strong-willed mentally break. You know, I do an 8-hour shift in there, and I go out and see the sun. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to fucking die. Right. And Albert, you know, I hate to speculate on what he might do, but this guy, he's going to go down hard. It's going to go real hard. And he knows it. So, you know, they're going to fight it hard, and they'll throw anybody under the bus in their way. And because he knows it.
Then why not just throw Colin under the bus where he belongs? I mean, honestly.
It's too late.
I think like I've speculated on this show before, when the family dynamics are, you know, I think, you know, anybody who comes from a family, a big family, or has cousins and uncles, and, you know, everybody rallies around that kid to try and save him. And I think Turtle Boy, I was listening to it, and I thought it was really intelligent. Like, he was like, you know, somebody's going to have to take the fall for this. Like, maybe his uncle, or I believe is Chris Albert. I mix up the Alberts. We'll have to come in and say, hey, brother,
Chris, you know, is the dad.
Right. So, hey, brother, you're going to have to fucking take the fall for this kid. He's 18. He has his whole life ahead of him. You're in your 50s, or you're close to retirement. I don't know how old he is. He's an older guy, you know, and this thing is going to end ugly, very ugly, and not for Karen Reed.
One of the key questions that's always that I've struggled with, and this comes to the new information. So I've always struggled with the motive for why the police would help cover this up, whether it's the Canton police or the state police. Just because just knowing someone isn't enough. Okay. But this is where the new information kind of ties things up. I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to give you a little clue. You've heard of 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon, right? I'm going to say 6 degrees to KB, but not Kevin Bacon. And that's all. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And then I'll consult with people. Maybe people can figure that out in chat, but I'm not going to affirm it though. I'm not, but tomorrow I think we're going to try to talk about it tomorrow if we can. I got to check with everybody to make sure, but it does explain why things went the way they did. And goes much more about someone else's power than Brian Albert's power. There's some, you know, so if this is the case, but again, I got to be very careful, because I really don't want to smear anybody that is dedicated their life to public service. Even, you know, like Brian Albert, I mean, this guy was a great cop from everything I understand. He may have been a hothead in the bars or something like that, but he did a lot of
He
great
was a
things as a
great cop,
right?
He was a great cop if you were in his clique. If you weren't in his clique, you might catch one upside the head for looking at him the wrong way.
No, I mean a great cop in
White
terms of
Claws.
serving the public and solving cases. You know,
Yeah,
and
I mean, somebody, I think it was Turtle Boy mentioned he took down the Craigslist killer. I didn't know that. I mean, I'm not sure that was a incredibly difficult case to crack. I mean, I know they had a lot of digital forensics on that and his emails and him on surveillance a lot and stuff. But I mean, you have to be able to separate. There's guys who are, you know, great plumbers and great soldiers and can really solve cases. That doesn't mean that they're good human beings. I think that's playing out right now, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you talk about Jen McCabe, you know, being in jail, and I can't help feeling. And now, listen, I have no reason to think that Jen McCabe is guilty. I have no idea. She's guilty, innocent. I'm not trying to. She's not charged in anything. I don't know. But if she is guilty, my heart goes out to her kids. I mean, they look like good kids, you know. They're on a soccer team or whatever. I mean, it's a tragedy no matter how this resolves. I mean, there are people that have never committed crimes before that are going to go to jail, and their kids are not going to have their parents, and it's the truth has to come out, whatever it is. I'm just saying it's a tragedy no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time feeling bad for someone who is at the very least complicit. I mean,
you don't feel bad for the kids?
No, I mean, I do feel, obviously I always feel bad for a kid, but I mean, she Googled how long to die in the cold for a reason, because either they were going to, I mean, I've worked it out a couple ways in my mind, but my best guess is they Googled that because they were wondering when they should throw the body out, because a medical examiner was going to test that and would be able to tell you the time frame that body was thrown out there. I would imagine that's what they were doing it for, because they had really smart cops there who know that these guys are going to start creating timelines. But I guess they assumed that the police who showed up would do their job. Obviously they didn't. So that's the only reason I can figure out why they would Google that at that time of the morning, is timelines. Because if this guy's body temperature is a certain time, you know, it's freezing out, this was the time of death, that's inconsistent with their statements, and now all of a sudden we get a big fuck, as opposed to just, you know, trying to figure it out on your own. That's what I think, why she would Google that.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of possible reasons, you know.
She couldn't possibly care about her kids. I mean, if you care about your kids, blow the whistle right away, right? Exactly. You want to be home for your kids, don't lie to the police. Don't involve yourself in a cover-up for a dead kid out there who's a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, who's a Boston police officer. You know, I mean, an alleged friend of yours. I mean, don't blow that whistle. Don't get.
I'm just saying the kids didn't deserve it. That's all I'm saying. So,
right.
I mean, it's not a matter of using that as a shield. I want to get to the truth. If Jen McCabe is guilty, get to the truth. Put her in jail. I'm not saying let her out. I'm just saying it's a tragedy no matter what happened here. Somebody is a good man is dead, and by all accounts, John O'Keefe was a good man. I haven't heard anything that said otherwise. And so there's that tragedy, and then either Karen Reed's life is ruined, or people on the other sides, or maybe like we've talked about, the state just wants Karen Reed to be acquitted, and then no one goes to jail, and
that's their ultimate goal.
Yeah, in their mind, that's happily ever after, but it's not really, because justice wasn't served. So
their ultimate goal is for Karen Reed to get acquitted. They get laughed out of court. Now, this judge really worries me. This judge really worries me. And most judges do, because they have zero accountability and they have jobs for life. And more often than not, they get promoted and they stay on those jobs for 100 fucking years. They get wheelchaired in and they're still doing it. And it's fucking crazy. That said, their ultimate goal, they would love for it to play out where she gets acquitted and nobody ever takes the fall. The Alberts get to move on. They collect their state pensions. Colin Albert goes out and plays college football and, you know, ultimately drops some chick a Molly at some fucking party or something like that, or, you know, whatever they call it now. I mean, and just a bigger news story comes along and we all forget about it. That is ideal for them right now, is that, you know, fucking another pandemic comes or something like that and we all just forget about it. And that's ultimately what they want. They know they have no case. I mean, it's a laughable case, you know.
You know what I meant to do tonight? Buy a chicken parm. Because every time I'm watching Turtle and he starts talking about chicken parm Charlie, I end up getting hungry. And I'm like, damn it, I need to get chicken parm. So if I had one I could throw in the mic, that would have been good.
I heard the one from D&E is mediocre, so I wouldn't go there.
No. I don't know if I've ever been to Canton. I'm not really planning
if
on
you want a
going.
good laugh, you should check out the Google reviews on D&E Pizza. It's a laugh riot. People are incessant, and I'm here for every one of those comments. They're fantastic.
I imagine it's really different. The remarks there now after this case is blown open, or after Turtle Boy blew it open a few months ago.
Right. I could literally, I mean, I really could. This is the state of Massachusetts. This is the same state that fired the state trooper who pulled over the judge's daughter and gave her, and tried to hook her for a DUI, and they made him change the report, and they fucking fired him. You know what I mean? I mean, what wouldn't they do to protect these people? So honestly, I'm not saying it's likely, but well, maybe I am. I mean, maybe it is likely. I mean, but if we sat here 6 months from now and that's what happened, and then all of a sudden it just goes out of the news cycle, would that surprise you? Wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be shocked at all. I don't want it to happen. I want to see what should happen is this. The FBI has an image problem, right? Everybody thinks the FBI is corrupt, fake Russia, fake this, whatever you think of that. And everybody knows that I'm pretty conservative. I have a general distrust of the FBI, and I voted for Trump twice. I mean, whatever. He didn't really work. It didn't really do what he said, but whatever. So I don't think the FBI is, I think the FBI could really do itself a big service in an image wise if they came in and somebody went down hard for this. And like, I'm talking like a 30-year sentence, right? Because that would be a life sentence for Brian Albert, right? Mm-hmm. That's it. He's not coming out of there, and if he is, he's getting paroled when he's 75. In the federal system, you have to do 85% of your time. Parole is not really a thing. So if the FBI were smart, which they're not, and cared about their image, which they don't, they would come in here and drop the hammer hard. But that's really our only hope. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Aaron, what's your position or your feelings about federal law enforcement, FBI, and the other agencies?
Actually, Dave and I had a conversation about a former FBI profiler today. His name's Jim Clementi, and he is my hero. I think individually, people like Jim are, like I said, heroes. I mean, they're absolute badasses. They'll go in there, they'll do their job, they'll be like bloodhounds, and they'll get their man. But I think by and large, there's problems. And I think to the, what do people call it? The disinterested citizen or whatever, disinterested participant, something like that. I don't know. To just some citizen sitting at home watching, everything unfold. They're going, you guys aren't doing your jobs. You're not doing your jobs, because we're not seeing everything that goes into what they do. And they could be seeing 15 leads and going, no. I'll look into that one. No more. So it's not for us to say, but like public view, it's not looking good.
That's a really important point that you just made, because it's, corruption, or if you want to call it corruption, comes in different forms, and it's not always as blatant as planting taillight glass, or because a lot of times it's about what you choose to look the other way against. And then I think there was some of that here, and I think the FBI definitely, Hunter Biden, nope, look the other way. And I don't mean to sound political, but I'm down the middle, but definitely looking the other way on Hunter Biden.
Story. that's a bigger issue. that's more than one live, I think.
And again,
but
it's scary when you have to say that, when you're like, the FBI is like, oh, but don't worry, guys, the FBI is going to come in and do the right thing. That's a bad place to be. That's a bad place to be.
So, Aaron, have you had any research assignments yet with us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Because Luann already did one too, and we directed it towards Tom, and he's reviewing it. She's trying to basically vet. She got a lot of information. We're trying to vet somebody's story, and we'll have them on. So, what are you working on? Anything you can tell us, or?
I was working on something for Dave earlier, actually.
Okay. Is it top secret?
I don't know. I don't know if he wants to talk about it or not.
Okay.
I'm leaving that up to you because it was your assignment. So.
You want to give us a hint, Dave?
Guys. Can you still hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, something happened to my computer. Well, we're looking hard. There's a case, missing woman in Canton, Massachusetts, 5 years ago. Sandra Crispo is her name, and not a word has been echoed. Not a word has been spoken by the police. There's not a single shred of any sign of Sandra. She just disappeared off the face of the planet, and I have personal connections to the case. I have friends I went to high school with her son. And my wife works with her daughter. And, I think that, there's a lot there. We'll just leave it there. And I don't know what we're going to do. Right now, we're just in the information gathering stage. But
that's my purview.
It's really hard for me to, Lauren, it is fascinating. And, we're going to take a trip soon to Canton, and we're going to talk to the locals and do what we do. That's really what we do here that makes us different than everyone else, is the fact that, we'll do on the scene reporting. We'll go right there. We'll ask the tough questions. And, we plan to do that. I plan to do that at a later date. And we're just in the information gathering right now. Is it a book? I don't know. Is it a long form article for the website? For sure. And
at least
how in this day and age of facial recognition, and again, I always go back to January 6th. They found the grandmother ripping the Marlboro Red in front of the Capitol, no problem, at 6:00 in the morning. But again, we can't find these people that just disappear off the face of the planet. And I think, honestly, Erin, a huge kudos to you already, day one.
Aww.
Finding out information that I didn't know. I had no idea about some stuff. So we'll just leave it at that, but much more.
Oh, I have a list for you, by the way. I've already generated about 5 pages of facts and things that just don't add up, things that are pinky, a list of people to talk to. So, yeah, you got your work cut out for you, buddy.
Well, unless Elizabeth Proctor does choose to come on with us in the next 10 minutes, we're going to cut out at 9 and go to Turtle Boy and see what he has. But I want to just remind people
to see how much time I have until Turtle goes on.
Oh, don't worry. We won't leave you stuck here. Unless something better happens. Like if Elizabeth Proctor comes on, you might want to be here, right? So,
absolutely. I have some questions for her.
But I just want to remind people, the reason I've been doing live every night for the last couple of weeks is because we are doing a documentary series called Outer Demons. It's based primarily on investigative work done by Dave McGrath, yours truly right here. He has a book out, Monster, The Life and Crimes of Wayne Chapman. It's also focused on the work of Melanie Perkins, who has a documentary that she won an Emmy for several years ago. So both of these two will be working together. They have breakthrough stuff in their new investigations. And I don't say that to try to tease you guys, because it won't be coming out for a while until the documentary series comes out. But we're really looking forward to seeing these two guys work together in person and what they come up with, but anywhere else where the investigation goes. So anybody else that wants to join us, we have a pretty good sized crew going Tuesday, but we're actually looking for a gimbal. If anybody anybody has a gimbal out there and wants to join us, if you don't know what a gimbal is, well, if you know what it is, you have one. So if anybody has one, that'd be great. If you want to join us in some other way, help us manage social media, or be researchers, or if you want to be a co-host. I mean, this is working out great with Erin, having 3 people. Me and Dave get tired of talking to each other on this because we talk to each other all day. So we want to send Dave out in the field, so maybe somebody can join him out there and hold the camera, so the poor guy can just talk without having to be there with his phone like this and stuff like that. So we want to turn this over the next few weeks into a much better, more interesting operation. And Dave is talking to his son Connor, who this is the longest we've ever had a video that Connor didn't get involved.
Yes, he wants to put on his dinosaur Halloween costume at 9:00.
And Dave's other son, Connor, is 4. His other son, Gunnar, is 10. And I just found out today wants to be an actor. So we're going to come up with a script and have him make his debut. I'm a writer, so I think we can come up with a script, 5-6 minute story, and get him out there. They'll have a reel to work on. He'll have a portfolio.
I actually told him about this, and the kid is fucking over the moon. So we have to do it now, Kev. We have to do it.
Yeah. So we probably got about 6 minutes left. Anybody has anything else they want us to go into, please mention it in chat. Anything else you guys want to go into?
Not much. Big day for news anyway on KR, and I'm so interested in it, and I'm so invested in Karen Reed and her innocence. A lot of people have reached out to me with different cases. Somebody reached out to me about Estrella, such a good comment. Daniel Holtzclaw, know it well. They teach it in the academy, in fact. Not too sure that my boy got a good deal there. I think he got rawed out. I don't know where you stand on it, but I know the case well. A lot of people reached out to me regarding the disappearance of Deborah Mello. I mentioned it the other night on the show. Boom, right on me about it. And, through the help of somebody else, I was actually able to locate her husband, who was the best suspect in the case. And so it looks like we're going to have a conversation next week, unbeknownst to him. So we'll film it and we'll talk about it. And again, woman disappears. We have a great suspect. All the evidence point towards it, but yet he's walking free. So,
if you guys go sometime just out of curiosity to ChatGPT or Google's Bard and you ask it a question, how many true crime cases have been solved based on information or investigative work done by citizens? There's quite a few now. There's quite a few. So for those of you guys out there to think this can't make a difference, people can make a difference. And just like you guys made a difference Tuesday in Canton.
I don't feel like I did anything.
And I think the biggest case for that.
Max, shut up.
Yeah, I agree. I'll tell you, again, I've always been a turtle rider, but he showed me some serious balls that night. Serious balls that day. I was very impressed.
The way
and one other thing.
People around. Ugh.
Yeah.
Like what he did to
we...
Carl Dougal and what he did to Jen McCabe. I couldn't imagine having a set that big, honestly. Like I cringe watching that stuff, but I'm like, you know what? Better him than me, because I would never be able to do that. But he's unbelievable.
One other point, I agree, Aaron, about citizens and true crime. All you need to do is go read the book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark. And it was a book about the Bay Area rapist or the East Side rapist. He had a million different names. And Michelle McNamara wrote that book. She didn't get to see it till the end. She actually died of a fentanyl overdose. But, if you don't have to look anywhere past that, because that book got people interested in that case again. The right detective saw it, pulled the old DNA sample, put it through Ancestry.com. Before you know it, the killer was caught, and he's doing a life sentence. His name's Joseph D'Angelo. And a lot of people credit that book with public interest again. So that's what we're trying to do here. Yeah, my boy had huge balls that day. I always knew he had huge balls, but holy shit, to see it up close like that.
Right?
We need that. This is a society of men who are just completely fucking ballless, right? We're taught from nowadays, these kids are being taught from a young age that masculinity is bad, speaking out is bad, having guts is bad. I mean, this is what men are supposed to be. You see a wrong, you right a wrong. That's what a man does. So all the praise.
Absolutely.
As always, when we're on these shows, you'll see me and Dave, whenever one of us is not talking, the other one is looking at their phone because more tips are coming in. I mean, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. So it's not something that I really wanted to do, but I'm fully committed to doing it. But I definitely would appreciate having the help to do that. I really just want to be a writer. I mean, I don't really have a thirst for being in front of a camera, but if I hadn't done this, I never would have met Dave, and I never would have met other people like Dave Jenkins. So I've just met so many great people that it's been a huge reward just for that. But if I can go back to just doing a couple of shows a week and organizing this stuff in a way that we're getting justice to a lot of, and bringing attention to cases that have been forgotten, and then I can go back and finish some of my unfinished novels and stuff like that. That'll be pleasurable to me. All right, guys. So anything else? We got T-minus 2 minutes, I think, until the turtle show.
I'm good.
Aaron, do you want to join us Tuesday? Oh,
Yeah.
you probably can't during the day.
Sure.
You want to join us?
Yeah, why
That'd
not?
be awesome.
I'm around.
Okay, awesome. Can you hold the camera?
No, Dave knows why I can't hold the camera. We had a conversation earlier. I have tremors.
Okay, that's all right.
Steady hands are not my deal. But yeah, I'd love to come Tuesday. Just tell me when and where, and I'll be there.
Okay,
Awesome.
I will. I mean, it's really it's obviously a great chance to meet Dave in person. You've been talking to him, but you get to meet Melanie Perkins, who's another great figure. You know, like I said, an
Really
Emmy
excited
Award
about
winner.
that. Yeah.
Someone who's been investigating. I mean, if you're talking about citizens investigating true crime, is there anybody really bigger than her? Definitely not in Massachusetts. She's been doing it 30 years.
Well,
and
Melanie?
uncovered serious shit. You know, Melanie. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'd say, she's definitely. Yeah, I mean, who named the biggest Massachusetts true crime writer? I don't even know. I guess one day soon it'll be me or
Dave.
you. I hope. Yeah. I mean,
Not me. I'm not an investigator. I'm just
yeah. I mean,
a guy with a channel.
I think I have one more explosive book to go before I can really claim that. But Melanie's amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, just absolutely a fucking bulldog. Guts, all guts. Just speak truth to power. Just absolutely amazing.
Melanie inspired.
Along really well.
So proud
You
to
will,
call her a
yeah.
friend. I was talking to her all night last night and a little bit today, and just love her.
Melanie inspired Dave to write his book, and she inspired me to start doing true crime. Because when I first started launching YouTube channels a couple of years ago, I had a lot of people saying, "Oh, do you want to do true crime?" And they wanted to get on with me. I was like, no, because I don't want to make you guys do homework, you know. And I was not into true crime myself because the cases kind of bother me. So I just rather watch fictional stuff. But seeing Melanie's documentary when I had COVID last year really kind of changed that for me, and it ultimately led me to do a long by my standards, a couple weeks investigation into Andy Puglisi, based largely on Melanie's work, but some other stuff that was out there. Did a video on it and had somebody else narrate it, a professional narrator, and that's how Dave met me. He reached out, you know.
Yep.
So we are at 9:01. So I'm sorry, I'm keeping you guys away from Turtle. So it's been a great show. Dave, is always great to be with you. Aaron, great to meet you, and looking forward to seeing both of you guys Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. This is awesome.
You're very welcome, and we will have you back.
Awesome.
Okay.
See you later, guys.